No, just kidding. Hope everybody is doing well. Let's see. What do I have to talk about today? Nothing much. Just a little freestyling. It seems like uh, everything that I have either watched as a film, read in a book, um, streamed on television or laptop, has been dealing with marriage. And even was out with some folks and we were talking about marriage and wedding rings. And I had this really, I'm just curious what other people think. So uh, the discussion was centered around the following scenario. A guy uh, decides that he wants to marry a woman. Uh, the two of them go to the ring store and they she selects a ring that he cannot afford. He is culturally expected to purchase the ring um, with his own money, since he's the one that, in general, is doing the proposing. And my argument is that if a woman decides that she would like to have a ring that has a price tag that exceeds the amount of money that the gentleman is able to afford or that he's budgeted, I do not see the problem with the two of them sharing a portion of the expense. The thing will be that because they'll be married and it's quite likely that they'll share. Um, all right, before I get too far into that, I just want to say that my feeling is that women get like this huge head start at planning this dream wedding. Uh, little girls are, they start thinking about their wedding at like 10 or 12. So they have already planned their dream wedding, um, even with no source of revenue. And I think that in this particular day and time, where uh, the expectation that the parents, or especially the bride's father, will pay for the wedding um, is just, I mean, you just can't make that assumption anymore. So I think that women have very unrealistic expectations about rings and weddings. And to me, in my great, in my humble opinion, I just feel like if you have not met the man that you want to marry, then I don't know if it makes sense for you to be planning um, what type of ring you would like him to buy you, because you are really setting yourself up for failure if you happen to fall in love with someone who you know can't afford a ring. And if you want a $20,000 ring, like most of you seem to want, you're going to have to marry somebody who will be able to afford that on their own. And I think even entrepreneurs and people who are business owners, nobody is just going out and making the $20,000 purchase of a ring. So you have to be a little bit more realistic about that. And I don't think that women are. I think that, you know, the idea of having a wedding is I don't know, like, what does a ring really mean? I mean, now I mentioned to you, because I said this on my Facebook not too long ago, that, and I probably should have said this first, because I don't want people to make the assumption that I don't have any pride. I certainly have pride. Um, if I if I'm going to get married, um, in my opinion, and I shouldn't say this because this kind of ruins my argument, but I just have to say it. In my opinion, I think that the ring should certainly reflect, that somebody is married. And I know it doesn't really take much, but I mean, I think I certainly would not want my wife to walk around with no wedding ring on. I mean, and for me, I would want it to be something that somebody could look at and say, "Oh, this chick's married," or not. That's not chick. You know what I mean? So anyway, but at the same time, though, if I decide that I can afford a ring that costs $7,000, and you say, "No, I just really want this $15,000 ring," and you want it bad enough, I don't understand why you wouldn't say, "Well, it's an expense that we'll both cover." Um, I would also propose that, women have the tendency to uh, put men on sort of like this scale. If you do this, then I'll give you this. If you do this, then I'll give you this. And men are not necessarily doing that, or not necessarily thinking like that. But if men thought like that in terms of wedding rings, I mean, maybe that would, maybe men and women could get along a little bit better if the payoff for a married man who is of good behavior is normal sexual activity, and the payoff for a woman who's exhibiting good behavior is, a ring enhancement over a series of years. I don't know. Um, it just seems like the so what I'm really saying is that the attention that women give to jewelry, especially before they have met the man they think they want to marry, to me can be a little unrealistic. Now, of course, if you really love a woman and you're a guy and you know what she's interested in, you're going to want to make her happy. But she ought to be so happy being with you that she'll settle for whatever you get her. I don't understand why, when I say that, like, it just doesn't seem like women agree. They're just like, no. I don't even know if I would want to take a woman to a jewelry store. For what? It's about what I can afford. And if I know you well enough, I'm going to have a general sense of the type of woman that you are. And I just feel like I'm going to be able to make a decision about um, a ring. But I think it will be setting myself up for failure. I mean, I guess I'm just freestyling, so jump in when you feel like it. I guess you can't jump in, but you know what I mean. I mean, I guess you could say, "Hon, we're going to the jewelry store. We're going to Benbridge or wherever, and I have a $6,000 limit." But also, I mean, I would also think that. So no, stop. Let me just tell you, I was having a conversation with my friend. Her name starts with a J. I'm not going to call her out, but I said to her, I said, "Friend, if you married a guy who, because she has her ring planned out, right? She's not necessarily met the guy, but she got the ring planned out." I said, "Jay, if you meet the guy that you're interested in marrying, and he's like, you know what? I know what you're interested in, but my grandma has this ring that we've passed down, and nobody else has gotten married, and I want to be able to pass it down to you." I said, Jay, would you take that ring, even if it was a little smaller than what you liked?" And she was like, "No." She said no. She said no. So she is, and I don't know. That to me, but another part of that too is I think that some women just want to be married so bad that they just, I mean, Yeah, they talk a big game now, but all they really need is for somebody to, well, I don't know if I can say that. You know what I mean. What do you guys think? What do you think? What do you think?